I'm interested to see there was a we'll talk about Snake Eyes in a little bit because I was gonna before we blow our load on that topic and we're not even there yet. So let's talk about this Venom 2 trailer though, because I think there's a good dichotomy between how like I mean, me and Rick really liked the first Venom movie. It's not the greatest movie in the world. And John, I think you said you liked it, but you're not the biggest fan of the interaction and the interplay between Tom Hardy's, Eddie Brock character and the symbiote Venom himself. Not in the sense that you didn't really enjoy it in the movie, it's just not something you're used to, right? It's not the kind of like explain your side of it, and I wanna elaborate further on the why I like it.
Yeah, so for those that read the comics, my first introduction to Venom was Amazing Spider-Man 300, and those subsequent issues after there when Eddie Brock first gets the symbiote, and the symbiote wasn't like this like wisecracking like other entity. This wasn't this other character. It was the suit influenced the person that wore it. So while Peter was, you know, still Peter when he was in the black suit slowly made him more aggressive and things like that. And Eddie being kind of a cocky, arrogant bastard kind of was more so when he had the symbiote. But the symbiote didn't really hold conversations with him and make wisecracking jokes and whatnot. So having that be the way they're playing it in the movies. Now I understand that over time the symbiote has developed into that in the comics. That now all the symbiotes kind of have their own personalities and things like that. So that's the way they've gone with the comics, and it makes sense that the movies are going to reflect what the comics do. But it's just not what I was used to. So it's different for me. I'm trying to get myself readjusted. I love Tom Hardy. I love his acting, and he was great in the first Venom, and the movie was fine. It was good. But like this, well, I mean, we'll get into it. But this trailer, like, what does Venom do in this trailer besides crack jokes? Like, that's where, like, if he's just comic relief, like he in the comics, he was like this really terrifying when he first came out in the comics. He was this really terrifying like thing. I mean, he negated Peter's Spidey sense, so you never knew when he was coming. He seemed to be stronger and better at everything that Peter could do. And it was like Peter's ingenuity that saved the day for him against Venom. Because Venom clearly outpowered Peter, and he was more of a scary like entity. You didn't know where he was going to pop up, what was going to happen. And in this trailer, and I guess maybe a lot of the first Venom movie, like he's the wisecracking like comic relief of the show, or of the movie. And so obviously I can't say I'm not complaining. I am complaining a little bit, but I'm not upset with it. Like I'm excited for this movie. I love, my God, they've got Woody Harrelson in it. It should be great. Woody Harrelson playing a psychotic. Anybody that's seen Natural Born Killers knows that Woody Harrelson can pull off the psychotic, crazy person pretty darn well. So I'm really excited for it. But yeah, that's kind of my thought process on it. Is I'm hoping that they get Venom back to being not just. It's fine if he wants to crack a joke here or there, but my God, to me, this whole trailer played like, besides this shot, played like Venom making jokes.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the Natural Born Killers thing because back when that movie came out, like it was a little before my time, but I've heard that like if they were to ever make a like Venom or Carnage like based Spider-Man movie, that everybody fan casted Woody Harrelson way back then
As Carnage.
Oh yeah,
as Carnage. Yeah, so
yeah.
it's nice to see that
Cletus
come full
Cassidy.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cletus Cassidy. It was right there. Like it was like that's that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm excited for the Woody Harrelson thing. For sure,
Me
'cause I
too. I'm
love-
excited to see finally a live iteration of Carnage. Like I've always kind of wanted that. Like going back to like even like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies and like the Tobey Maguire ones and all that. And I'm glad that they're finally doing it in a time period where it'll be well done versus like, you know, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies or whatever. Obviously like Spider-Man 3 wasn't very good. So I think this one has a chance to be great. I hope it is.
I hope so.
It's funny. I feel like I need to go back and rewatch Spider-Man 3 and give it another
There's so
shot.
much, so much that goes on in that movie.
You don't need to give it another shot, dude.
I was there's another YouTuber out there that posted a video that I somehow stumbled, probably because I was watching the Venom video, but I stumbled upon it and like it was his defense of Spider-Man 3. And so I felt like, well, maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake, but he's kind of I felt like he was kind of biased anyway because he loved all the Sam Raimi stuff and thought all the movies had they have good characterization, but I think some of the dialogue in all those movies comes off very stilted.
Well, I got news for you, dude. Okay, this is indefensible. You can't really correct this or defend it in any way, shape, or form. Okay, you can't.
That
you
hair.
can't defend this.
Emo Peter.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
No, it's just bad. All right, like I don't.
And then the day
You gonna cry?
It's just bad.
He's just like thinks he's so cool.
Yeah, I don't care what you can defend the movie on any other level all you want.
It's like
This
like me at work.
is terrible.
I do that same thing.
And so is everything that has to do with Venom in that movie is also pretty bad.
Topher Grace was a horrible Eddie Brock.
So here's the thing with it though, like he was pointing out like some spots where like and he just showed the clip like when Peter goes off at the bar and starts getting in the fight and Mary Jane comes up behind him and he's in that rage and he doesn't pay attention, he just turns around and hits her, knocks her to the ground. Like, man, he just seeing that 10-second clip that he showed of that, like it was like an emotional gut punch to me. And so I'm like, well, yeah, man, that's so anyway. But yeah, this right here, oh my god.
Ooh.
God, don't do it. Don't do it.
How can he do that with a straight face?
I don't know.
Like, I don't care how
can
cool
you defend
think
this
you are.
movie? What? Oh,
I'm gonna send you the video after we're done, but yeah, you're right. But anyway, so yeah, Spider-Man 3.
The only good
hasn't been
stuff,
done
the
right.
Sandman stuff in that movie was good. I liked all that.
Yeah.
Like Thomas Hayden Church was great as Sandman. You cared about him, you know, with his him and his daughter and stuff.
yeah.
Like that was good stuff. That was all good.
I even like James Franco, to be honest, but
See, I didn't like the new Goblin stuff they did with him and his little flying snowboard and shit. Like there was just too much in that movie that was stupid. Like,
well, and that's because they forced Venom down Raimi's throat.
yeah,
Raimi's original story was just going to be Sandman, and Avi Arad, the producer, came in and was like, "Yeah, fans want Venom. We can't wait on Venom anymore." So they forced Venom into the script. But
that's really
Tom
not
Hardy,
a defense though, because like if that's fine, you just make a good movie with Venom. You know what I mean?
You remove Sandman.
No, just make a good movie with Venom. If they were going to force you to use Venom,
You're like, let's
his
do this.
job was to make a good
like,
movie.
But what I've heard at least is that like they inserted Venom so late in the process, and they made them hit a certain production, like they had to be ready to go in theaters like 2 years after Spider-Man 2, so they were rushing anyway, and then they forced Venom into the script, and like they were literally writing the script as they're filming scenes like for that movie. So I don't know. Anyway, I just brought it up because I thought it was funny that we were talking about Spider-Man 3. But the one thing I will say is Tom Hardy, to me, physically, gives a much better impression of Eddie Brock and Venom than Topher Grace. I mean, Topher Grace, I understand why they chose Topher Grace, because they were trying to parallel the Peter Parker. They were trying to show how they were basically two sides of the same coin. But yeah, no, Eddie Brock's always been this muscle-bound
jerk.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, they fixed his hair, thankfully.
Yeah, that was my biggest complaint was.
And I like the fact too that like in the comics, like Cletus Cassidy had to draw blood, and then that's what like kind of initiated the whole Carnage symbiote, and they kind of paid homage to that with like the lethal injection happening, and it goes into his bloodstream, and then boom, Carnage activates.
Cletus Cassidy.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah, just that was my lisp kicking in.
Cletus.
Cletus Cassidy. I'm channeling my inner Mike Tyson. Okay. The only thing that I really want though, dude, is they're teasing this whole like Spider-Man connectivity, but like Tom, was that
I've been hearing noises for the
some
last
just like
30
hit
seconds.
like a wall out here or something, so it was weird. Sorry, but the Tom Holland Spider-Man stuff's been being like kind of teased with Sony's like Spider-Verse with Morbius, and then even in this movie now, you saw a couple like scenes of someone actually holding a Daily Bugle newspaper.
I saw that.
So like that actually is like a thing now. So they're really teasing the Spider-Man stuff in this stuff. I just want the spider logo on Venom. That's all I want. Like I don't know why. It's just weird looking at him without it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But would it in this continuity though, wouldn't it not make sense? I mean, the reason it's on Venom in the previous continuity is because
Not if he finds him now though. You know what I mean?
Right.
My wife just popped in. Hi babe.
This is their first cameo appearance on here.
It is.
Is this her first appearance on the
We'd probably get more views if she came on camera more often.
She's been on
people to subscribe at work today.
Did you?
Hey, that works.
There it is. Every little bit counts.
And you saw my brother. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and then Rick's brother popped in.
I do have a brother.
How was work? Good. All right, we'll see you in a little bit.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Captain America.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
That'll work. Thank you.
Well, there you go.
Sorry
there she went.
Yeah, and there she goes. Sorry for the interruption. But no, it would I always thought it'd be cool to introduce Tom Holland's Spider-Man into this though, and they could explain it in a way that like here's the thing, here's my pitch, okay? You know how in the comics it happens like Venom gets pissed off at fucking Eddie Brock and then he like leaves him, right? So that you do that kind of story arc, and then he finds Peter. And then you do the black suit thing with Peter, and then when he leaves him to go back to Eddie because Peter rejects him, then that explains it. Then that's the thing. Then he has the spider thing, and then he can do the web shooting out of his hands, and like then he gets the logo. You're done. Like it's that simple if you do, but you do have to introduce it in that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean,
not he just has
Spider-Man yet. I don't.
Yeah, like not. I don't want him just to show up like in this shot. If he just had the logo on him for
it'd be cool.
No reason, that'd be kind of stupid. Or if he sees a freaking YouTube video of Spider-Man swinging through the city, and it's just like, oh, I want the logo. Like that. Yeah, that would be stupid. But
it'll be cool though if they did a black suit Tom Holland. Well, they already did like the stealth Spider-Man thing, but like I mean, like a true symbiote.
That was more of an homage to Spider-Man Noir, though.
That's exactly what it looked like, too.
Yeah, more so than symbiote Spidey. But yeah, I see that's the thing too with I'm kind of the opposite of John with the whole duality.
I kind of like it.
I prefer it. It brings more
character and
it brings more. It's a better dynamic than just like Eddie Brock being influenced by like because then you have to explore Eddie Brock a lot more, and it's like he's just a photographer, like he's just a reporter.
But does Venom actually have? I mean, what's Venom's character besides making wisecracking jokes? Like,
well, they explained it in the movie, the first one.
Maybe I need to watch it. I only saw it the one time. Maybe I need to watch it again. I don't.
Yeah, like he's like the runt of the litter. Everyone makes fun of him. He's like he is the joke of the symbiotes.
Right.
So he uses he uses humor as a defense mechanism, just like anybody.
Kind of like me.
Yeah, like so. I mean, they did explain it. Like it makes sense for him to act the way he does, and like maybe they play into the humor part more so than they need to. And like, not that every joke like works for like by any means, but I liked it all. Like, I think I don't know if the movie would have worked as well if it didn't have that dynamic between them. Because I just feel like you can do a lot more with having that dynamic in place than you would
Mhm.
otherwise, especially without Spider-Man. In all honesty,
Well,
with
and it gives you insight into Eddie's motivations that you otherwise don't get unless you're doing some weird like inner running monologue and stuff. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like maybe I did say it's bad. I don't remember. But it's
you just
just
said you were
it's
complaining, not that it was
different. It's
bad.
different. It's different than what my introduction to the character was. So it's different than my um because I have not kept, I'm mainly a DC guy as far as the comics go. I drop in on Marvel occasionally when big events happen and stuff, and Spider-Man I go in and out of it anymore. Venom's such a big character. Venom's his own thing in the Marvel world. He's not even really in the Spider-Man comics too much anymore.
Mhm.
So I haven't kept up with Venom, so I don't, besides knowing the generalities of the character, I'm just not familiar with him in this being portrayed in this way. So that's the biggest thing for me, is to get used to this different type of portrayal.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they've done so much with them too, like, anymore, because like, you had the whole Flash Thompson, Agent
Agent
Venom
Venom,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you had Anti-Venom storyline come in, then, like, most recently, they have, like, the symbiote homeworld with, like, the first symbiote and, like, the god symbiote, and, like, they really
Yeah.
expanded the whole symbiote thing, and, like, in comparison, this shit's pretty tame, like, to
Right.
what they're doing
Yeah.
nowadays. Like, so I don't know, like, before we move on, do you ever see a world where they'll do any of that in this universe, like Anti-Venom and
It'd
the
be cool to see
symbiote homeworld and
Anti-Venom.
stuff?
I don't know about the home world. That goes pretty in depth, I feel like.
It could be
It
weird.
depend well,
Weird.
it depends.
It is
Like
weird.
if Sony and Marvel agree to keep Spider-Man in the MCU and Sony doesn't use Spider-Man in the Venom-Verse, then yeah, I totally think that Venom becomes this Venom-Verse they're creating with Morbius and everything else. I mean, the whole point of them creating this universe, I think, is to get to the point where the MCU is, where they can do some big crossover movie, and like doing Null, the god of the symbiotes, would be their version of Thanos, for lack of a better. I mean, they're not the same character.
Totally.
They don't want the same thing, but in terms of having a big kind of, in this case, cosmic baddie come for heroes or anti-heroes to team up and go up against, that Null would be a perfect, antagonist for that. So, yeah, I mean, if it continues this way, I definitely think we could get to that point.
Off topic a little bit, because my theory is that they are gonna bring Spider-Man back. And I think, like, if they're gonna do the team up, that I think it's gonna be like Sinister Six, and that first movie is gonna be like Sinister Six. Like, when, like, their big team up movie, like, they're gonna the first movie that they have Spider-Man in the Sony world will be the Sinister Six movie, which I think will work great because 'cause they're gonna have all of the individual movies for Sinister Six out at that point. So then it's gonna be like this big thing, like, now Spider-Man's back, and, like, boom. I think
Right.
But
that would be cool,
okay,
personally.
but how old is Tom Holland going to be by the time we get to that point?
Well,
Like,
his contract's over with the MCU, that like, after
well,
Multiverse of
his contract's
Madness.
up with Sony, right?
No, it's up with the MCU.
But not with Sony still has him in under contract for more movies?
No, like, it's just up, so, like, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Sony deal, like, for, like, Tom Holland's actual contract as Spider-Man is up after Multiverse of Madness. That's between
Yes.
either or. Like, he doesn't have
Yes.
anything withstanding with either company, so,
Yes.
like, at that point, Sony could just bring him in, or Marvel could re-up and go to Sony and be like, "Hey, we wanna make more." It's just kind of
See,
what
now
falls in their court.
I personally think Sony needs to just take take the money from the MCU, from Marvel, and just be like, "Here, you guys run with Tom Holland as long as you want," and just cast their own Peter Parker and have two
Would
Peter
you rather do
Parkers
that
at
or
the same time.
Miles or something? Or
Yeah.
Spider-Man 29, some, Miguel.
McGee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that. I'm down for another version of Spider-Man. I mean, that's the whole thing about Into the Spider-Verse, right? Anybody can be
Mhm.
Spider-Man. Anybody can be under the mask. And so, yeah, that would make perfect sense. I hadn't thought of that. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see him go that route. But for some reason, like they haven't yet, and I don't know why. Like you
I
have the
think it's
rights to
because
Spider-Man.
I think it's because of the withstanding current deal with Marvel is that they don't want another live action Spider-Man. Kind of like for the longest time, DC didn't want a live action Batman on TV because
Yeah.
they didn't want the same with Superman. They didn't
Yeah.
want it to conflict with what they were doing in the movies.
People are stupid. They'll get confused.
Right.
Wait a minute, that's not the Batman that was on
Yeah.
TV. Well, hold on a second here.
I
Hey,
don't know
come in
if
here,
that's
Emma.
it though. I don't know if that's
Look,
the
look at
only
these two
thing.
Batman. These two Batman ain't the same.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
I don't. I think we know everyone's past that now, but I think it was more, at least in my head canon, and I know this has to be part of it. It's just that it cheapens the character. If you have Batman here and Batman there and Batman, the
Have you
want
seen
for
the amount of
Batman
crap that
gets
they
smaller.
put Batman's image on in the marketplace? Like,
Oh, I agree. It's stupid,
like
but
the
I get it
idea
from
that
that
they could
standpoint.
somehow oversaturate a character is almost. I honestly think that movie execs think that they honestly think that we sound like what I was just saying. Like they think we're dumb yokels that can't
Oh,
figure
yeah.
out that
True.
two different versions of a or whatever. Like I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
But
I agree. Their logic behind it is it's never. They don't give enough credit in any way, shape, or form. Like, because like
No.
even if you want to lean with the oversaturation aspect of it, it's like, well, you have to do it first to even know if that's going to be the cause and effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like instead of just worrying about making a good movie or a good story or just doing whatever works best for the story, they worry about like confusion or oversaturation or whatever. But speaking of oversaturation, we're going to talk about that with the next article here too. So actually, that's a good segue out. We'll
dovetail into that.
yeah, we'll just wrap this one up. So, question here is, guys, did you like the Venom 2 trailer? Because I liked the Venom 2 trailer. I thought it was pretty good. I would have liked to have seen more carnage, some more carnage. I would have liked to have seen that, but like Rick said, I do enjoy the cut hair, the wig at the end, the little teaser scene. I mean, the whole scene, the whole end scene with Woody Harrelson's character, it was terrible. It's like, there's gonna be carnage. It was stupid, and he looked ridiculous. So I'm glad that he looks better now, and like Carnage actually looks cool for the few milliseconds we saw him. So I'm just hoping we get another trailer soon, and like we get some more exposure of both Venom and Carnage. Because I will agree with John in the fact that most of this trailer was just kind of Venom internal dialogue cracking jokes with Eddie, more so than any actual footage of the character himself. So, movie called Venom, and you barely got to see him. Same with the Carnage aspect. So, but let us know what you think about the Venom 2 trailer down in the comment section below.